of new orders.
My, I suppose if it keeps on, you'll be opening up a shop.
That's what Ed said, but I said no. I want to be a dancer.
The only trouble with dancing is that it takes too long. You've been studying such a long time.
Only 8 years. After all, Mother, you've been writing plays for 8 years. We started about the same time, didn't we?
Yes, but you can't count my first 2 years because I was learning to type.
I think the candy's hardened up now, Miss Effie.
Thanks, Reba. I'll bring some in for you, Mother. I want you to try it.
Finish the second act, Mrs. Sycamore?
What, Reba?
I said, did you finish the second act?
Oh no, I've just got Cynthia entering a monastery.
She was at the Kit Kat, wasn't she?
Yes, but she gets tired of the Kit Kat Club, and there's this monastery, so she goes there.
Oh. Do they let her in?
Yes, I made a visitor's day, so of course anybody can come.
Oh.
So she goes to the monastery on visitor's day and stays.
You mean she stays all night?
Why yes, she stays 6 years.
6 years? My, I bet she busts that monastery wide open.
6 years later.
Mr. DePina!
Yeah?
Mr. DePina, can you bring up one of the new skyrockets, please? I want to show them to Miss Sycamore.
Sure.
Look, Penny, what do you think of these little firecrackers we just made? We can sell them 10 strings for a cent. Listen.
Nice, huh?
Yes. Paul, dear, were you ever in a monastery?
No, I wasn't. Wait till you see the new rockets. Gold stars, then blue stars, and then bombs, and then a balloon. Mr. DePina thought of the balloon.
That's nice. Did you do all that today?
Sure, we made up about... Oh, here we are. Look, Benny, cost us 18 cents to make, and we sell them for 50. How many more do you figure we can make before the 4th of July, Mr. DePina?
Well, we've got 2 weeks yet. What day do you plan on bringing them down to Mount Vernon?
About a week. You know, we're going to need a larger booth this year. We got a lot of stuff made up.
Mr. Sycamore, I'm afraid the powder chamber is just a little too close to the balloon.
Well, we got the stars and the bombs in between.
But the balloon needs plenty of time. It doesn't have enough time.
Come on. Let's go down in the cellar and try it.
Oh, all right.
Mr. DePina, if a girl you love entered a monastery, what would you do?
Oh, I don't know, Mrs. Sycamore. It's been so long.
Miss Alice will be home for dinner tonight, Mrs. Sycamore.
I don't know, Reba. Maybe.
Well, I'll set a place for her, but she's only been home 1 night this week.
Yes, I know.
Miss Effie's making some mighty good candy. She's trying something new with coconuts.
That's nice.
Let's see. 6, and Mr. DePina, and if Mr. Cooley comes, that makes 8. Yes, I'd better set for 8.
You know, Reba, I think I'll put this play away for a while and go back to the war play.
The war play? I always liked that one. Boom! Boom!
They'll be better when they're harder, Mother. But try one. I want to know what you think.
They look lovely. What do you call them?
I think that I'm going to call them Love Dreams.
That's lovely. I'm going back to the war play, Effie.
Are you, Mother?
Yes, I sort of got myself stuck in a monastery, and I can't get out.
It'll come to you. Remember how you got out of that brothel? The snakes look hungry. Did Reba feed them?
I don't know. Reba, have you fed the snakes yet?
No, Donald's coming and he always brings supplies with him.
Well, make sure they're fed before Grandpa gets home. You know how fussy he is about them.
Yes'm.
Oh, here. Take Harpo and Groucho to the kitchen with you.
I just washed my hands, Mrs. Sycamore.
I'll take them.
Thank you, Essie. Believe I'll have another love dream.
Mr. DePina was right about the
balloon.
It was too close to the powder.
Would you like a love drink, Father? They're on the table.
No thanks, I gotta wash.
I'm going back to the war play, Paul.
Oh, that's nice. We're putting some red stars after the bombs, and then the balloon. That ought to do it.
Did you know that Mr. Kolyenkov says I'm his most promising pupil?
You'd think with 40 monks and one girl that something would happen.
Essie! Essie!
Ed!
Essie!
I like that, Ed. Did you write it?
No, Beethoven.
Oh, well, it's got a lot of you in it. I made those candies this afternoon.
Yeah?
You can take them around tonight.
All right. Now this is the end, and this is me.
That's fine, Ed.
Ed, dear, why don't you and Essie have a baby? I was just thinking about it the other day.
I don't know. Why don't we have a baby? Essie, do you want to have a baby with me?
I don't really care. I'm willing if Grandpa is.
Let's ask him.
Labor play, religious play, sex play. I know it's here someplace.
I was right about the balloon. It was too close to the powder.
Look, Mr. DePinna, do you need anything printed tonight? How about some more calling cards?
No thanks. I've still got the first 1,000.
Well, call on someone, will you?
All right.
Reba, what have we got for dinner? Because I'm ready to print the menu.
Let's see. Watermelon. Some of those candies Miss Essie made. Cornflakes. And some kind of meat. I forget.
Well, I think I'll set it up in bold-faced Cheltenham. And if I'm going to take out some of Essie's candy, I better come up with some descriptive matter after dinner.
Ed, dear, do you think anybody reads those things that you put in the candy boxes, I mean? Aha! Here it is. Poison gas. That must be Donald. Look at Reba smile.
The boyfriend, eh, Reba?
They're awfully cute. Reba and Donald, sort of like Romeo and Juliet.
Hello, Reba. Evening, everybody.
Hi, Donald. How you been?
I'm pretty good, Ed. How you been, Miss Sycamore?
Very good. Donald,
Yes, ma'am.
were you ever in a monastery?
No, I don't go no place much. I'm on relief.
Ah, yes.
Here's the files, Reba. Caught a big mess of today.
You sure did.
I see you've been working, Miss Sycamore.
Yes, indeed, Donald.
How's Grandpa?
Very well. He's over at Columbia, the commencement exercises.
My, the years certainly do roll round.
M-E-A-T. Say, why does Grandpa go there all the time for anyways?
I don't know. It's just so handy, just around the corner.
Oh, Donald. Mr. DePinna and I are going to take the fireworks up to Mount Vernon in the morning. You think you could give us a hand?
Yes, sir. Only thing is, I can't take no money for it this year, because if the government finds out I'm working, they'll get sore.
Oh. Ed, I got a wonderful idea in the bathroom just now. I was reading Trotsky. It's yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I left it there.
Who is it?
You know, Trotsky, the Russian Revolution?
Oh,
Anyhow, it gave me a great fireworks idea. Do you remember the last days of Pompeii?
oh yes, Palisades Park. That's where we met.
Well, I'm going to do the revolution. A full-hour display.
Say,
Paul, that's wonderful.
The red fire is the flag, huh?
Sure, and the Tsar, and the Cossacks.
and Alamo?
No, Donald, the Russian Revolution.
Well, sir, you should have been there.
Hello, Grandpa.
That's all I can say is, you should have been there.
Was it a nice commencement, Grandpa?
Oh, wonderful. They get better every year. You don't know how lucky you are, you're snakes.
Big classes here, Grandpa? How many were there?
Oh, must have been about 2 acres. Everybody graduated. Much funnier speeches, too.
You want to listen to a good speech? You go up in here, Father Divine.
Oh, I'll wait, Donald. They'll have him at Columbia.
Donald, will you tell Reba that Grandpa's home and we won't wait for Miss Alice?
Yes, and Reba, Grandpa's home. We can have dinner.
We made a new rocket today, Grandpa. Wait till you see it.
Evening, Grandpa.
Oh, evening, Mr. DePinto.
Didn't we make a fine rocket today, Mr. DePinto?
Oh, we certainly did.
Wonder why they don't have fireworks at commencement.
Oh, don't make enough noise. You take a good commencement orator, and he'll drown out a whole carload of fireworks. Say just as much, too.
Don't the graduates ever say anything?
No, they just sit there in their caps and nightgowns, and along about 40 years, wake up and say, "Where am I?"
Hello, Grandpa. Did you have a nice day?
Hello, have a nice day. Don't I ever get kissed?
Excuse me.
Oh, I'll take a tomato, too. You know, I could have used a couple of these today.
Father?
No thanks.
Mother?
No, thank you, dear.
Oh, play something, Ed.
All right.
There was a letter that came for you, Grandpa. Did you get it?
Letter for me? I don't know anybody.
It was for you, though. It had your name on it.
Really? Where is it?
I don't know. Mother, where's the letter that came for Grandpa this afternoon?
What?
The letter that came for Grandpa. Where is it?
I don't know. Oh, I saw the kittens on it.
Did you happen to see who it was from?
Yes, it was on the outside.
Well, who was it?
Oh, the United States government.
Huh. I wonder what they wanted.
I don't know, but there was a letter that came before that, too. There were a couple of them.
Really? Well, if any more come, I wish you'd give them to me.
Yes, Grandpa.
You know, I think I'm going to go down to Westchester tomorrow and do some snake hunting.
God is the state is God.
What's that?
God is the state is God.
Who says that?
Trotsky.
Oh, well, that's all right. I thought you said it.
God is the state, and the state is God. You know, that's good for printing, you know. Nice and short. G, O, D, space. I, S, space.
And so, the beautiful princess entered the palace, and she kissed her mother, her father, and her grandfather.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Grandpa. And what do you think? They turned into the Sycamore family. Surprise!
Oh, Alice, I like it.
Do you?
It's new, isn't it?
Yes?
Where'd you get it?
Oh, I took a walk during lunch hour.
You've been taking a lot of walks lately.
I just like to brighten up the office every once in a while. I'm known as the King Francis of Kirby and Company. So, what's new around here? In the ways of plays, snakes, ballet dancing, and fireworks. Dad, I'm sure you've been down in the cellar all day.
Huh?
I'm going back to the war play, Alice.
Oh, really, Mother?
Hey, you should play Alice that Beethoven thing you wrote.
All right.
You know that you can mail a letter all the way to Nicaragua for just 2 pesitos?
Kenneth,
Really?
my virginity is a priceless thing to me.
Listen! I'm not home to dinner. A young gentleman is calling for me.
Really? Who is it?
Well, isn't that nice?
I did everything I could to keep him from coming here, but he's calling for me.
Why don't you both stay to dinner?
Oh no, I want him to take you in easy doses. So don't make it any worse than you can help. So don't read him any plays, Mother. And don't let a snake bite him, Grandpa. Because I like him. And I wouldn't dance with him, Essie, because we're going to see the Monte Carlo Ballet tonight.
Can't do anything. Who is he? The President of the United States?
No, he's Vice President of Kirby and Company, Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.
The boss's son?
Well,
The boss's son, just like in the movies.
That explains all the new dresses.
And why you haven't been home for dinner for 3 weeks.
Why, Sherlock?
are you going to marry him?
Yes, of course. Tonight. Meanwhile, I have to go off and put on my wedding dress. dress.
But wait, is he good looking?
Yes, in a word. Oh dear, what time is it?
I don't know. Does anybody know what time it is?
Mr. DePinna might know.
It was about 5 o'clock a couple hours
Oh,
ago.
I ought to know better than to ask you people. Will you let me know as soon as he gets here?
Of course, Alice.
Yes, but I mean the minute he gets here.
Why, of course, Alice.
We'll be sure.
Well, what do you think of that?
She sure seems to like him.
I should say so. She's got it bad.
If they get married, we could have the wedding right here, in this room.
Come now, Penny. This is the first time he has ever called for a girl.
You only called for me once.
Young people are different nowadays.
I don't know. Look at Edwin. He came to dinner once and just stayed.
I think it's wonderful, don't you, Grandpa?
She certainly seems to like him.
He must be crazy about her. Maybe he's the one who's been taking her out every night this week. That must be him.
Well,
Never mind, Reba. I'll answer it.
let's get a good look at him.
Now remember what Alice said. Be very nice to him. Well, come right in. We've been expecting you.
How do you do?
Now, I'm Alice's mother, and that's her father, and her grandfather, her sister Effie, and her husband Ed. Now give me your hat and get yourself right at home.
I'm afraid you must be making a mistake.
How's that?
My card.
Wilbur C. Henderson, Internal Revenue Department.
That's right.
What can we do for you?
Does a Mr. Martin Vanderhoff live here?
Yes, sir. That's me.
Well, Mr. Vanderhoff, the government wants to talk to you about a little matter of income tax.
Income tax?
Do you mind if I sit down?
No, go right ahead.
Thank you.
Mother, is that Mr. Kirby?
No, it isn't, darling. It's an internal something or other.
Mr. Sycamore? Oh, excuse me.
What is it?
These things, they're not going off. Look.
Not your responsibility. Pardon me.
Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, we've sent you several letters about this, but have not had any reply.
Oh, that's what those letters were.
I told you they were from the government.
According to our records, Mr. Vanderhoff, you have never paid an income tax.
That's right.
Well, why not?
I don't believe in it.
Well, you own property, don't you?
Yes, sir.
And you receive a yearly income from it.
I do.
Between $3,000 and $4,000.
About that.
You've been receiving it for years.
Since 1901, if you want the exact date.
Well, the government is only concerned from 1914 on. That's when income tax started. Well, it seems, Mr. Vanderhoff, that you owe the government 24 years back to income tax.
Wait a minute, you can't go back that far. That's outlawed.
What's your name?
Why does that matter?
Ever filed an income tax return?
No, sir.
And what was your income last year?
$28.50. Isn't that right, Essie?
Yes, sir.
If you please. Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, you know there's quite a penalty for not filing an income tax return.
Penalty?
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Henderson.
Well,
Suppose I pay you this income tax. Mind me, I'm not saying I will, but for the sake of argument, what's the government going to give me?
how do you mean?
Well, if I go into Macy's, I get something. There it is. What's the government giving me?
Why, the government, it gives you everything. It protects you.
From what?
Well, invasion, foreigners that might try to come over and take everything you've got.
I don't think they'll do that.
Well, if you didn't pay an income tax, they would. How do you suppose the U.S. government keeps up with the Army and the Navy, all those battleships?
We haven't used battleships since the Spanish-American War. And what did we get out of that? Cuba. And we gave that back. Now, I wouldn't mind paying if it were something sensible.
Sensible? Well, what about Congress and the Supreme Court and the President? We have to pay them, don't we?
No, sir. Not with my money.
a minute. I'm not here to argue with you. All I know is that you haven't paid an income tax and you have got to pay it.
They've got to show me.
We don't have to show you. I just told you. All those buildings down in Washington and interstate commerce and the Constitution.
The Constitution was paid for a long time ago. And interstate commerce, what is interstate commerce?
There are 48 states, see?
Mm-hmm.
And if there weren't interstate commerce, things can go from one state to another. See?
Why not? They got fences.
No, they haven't got fences. They've got laws. My God, I've never come across anything like this before.
Well, I might pay about $75, but that is all that it's worth to me.
You'll pay every cent of it, like everybody else.
Listen to this a minute, Essie. Listen to this.
And let me tell you something else. You'll go to jail if you don't pay. Do you hear that? That's the law. And if you think you're bigger than the law, you've got another thing coming. You're no better than anybody else, and the sooner you get that through your head, the better. You'll be hearing from the United States government. That is all I can say.
Look out for those snakes!
They're crazy! They're psychopaths! They're nuts!
How was that?
That was fun, Ed.
How did that sound to you folks?
I sure liked it.
My, he was mad, wasn't he?
Oh, now, Fanny, it's not his fault. The whole thing is just so silly.
He forgot his hat.
Really? What size is that hat?
7 and an 8.
Just right for me.
Who was that fellow anyway?
This must be Mr.
Oh.
Kirby.
Better make sure this time.
I will.
I hope he's good looking.
How do you do?
Good evening.
Is this Mr. Anthony Kirby Jr.?
Yes.
Come right in, we didn't expect you. I'm Alice's mother, and that's Mr. Sycamore, and Alice's grandfather, her sister Essie, and her husband Ed Carmichael. Now you've met us all. Give me your hat and make yourself right at home.
Thank you.
Mother,
do you do?
is
How do you
that
do?
Mr. Kirby?
Yes, darling. He's lovely.
I'll be right down.
Will you be seated, Mr. Kirby?
Do you want a tomato?
How about some candy, Mr. Kirby?
Thank you.
I forgot Mr. DePinna. Mr. DePinna, Mr. Kirby.
How do you do?
Wasn't I reading about your father in the paper? Didn't he get indicted or something?
Hardly that. He only testified against the Security Commission.
Oh.
I'm sure there was nothing crooked about it, Mr. DePinna. Alice has told us what a wonderful man your father is.
Oh, well, he wouldn't be able to get along without her. She knows more about the business, well, than any of us.
But aren't you a little young to be vice president of a big company like that?
Oh, Vice President, you know what that means. All I did was just put my name on it. Ha!
Don't you get any salary, Mr. Kirby?
A little. More than I'm worth, I'm afraid.
Now you're just being modest.
Wall Street, sounds kind of dull to me. How do you like it?
Well, the hours are short, and I've only been there for a little bit of time.
Oh, just out of college?
Well, I knocked her out for a bit at first.
Oh, what all did you do? Travel?
I went to Cambridge for a year.
England.
That's right.
Say, did you ever see an English commencement? What are those like?
Oh, very impressive.
Really?
Yes, well, now I'm out of college and I'm facing the world.
Well, you've got an awfully good start, Vice President and a rich father.
Well, that's hardly my fault.
Well, I suppose you're ready to settle down and get married.
Come now, Betty. I'm sure Mr. Kirby knows his own mind.
I wasn't making up his mind for him, was I, Mr. Kirby?
Oh, that's quite all right, Mrs. Sycamore.
You see,
You mustn't rush him, Mother.
all I'm saying is that he's bound to get married, and suppose he
Well,
gets the wrong girl.
Here I am, a vision in blue. Have you all met each other?
Yes, indeed. We were just having a lovely chat about love and marriage.
Oh dear. I'm sorry. Thinking down as fast as I could.
Oh, I didn't mind in the least.
Damn those flies in the kitchen. Oh, Miss Alice, you look beautiful. Where are you going?
I'm going out, Eva.
Steppin', huh? That must be Mr. Kolienko.
I think we better go, Tony.
All right.
Grandma, you take cream on your corn.
Good evening, everybody! called ballet. It stinks.
Yes, well, good. Everybody,
Bye.
Let's go.
And Martin called a ballet.
Mr. Kirby is What did you think of Mr. Kirby, Grandpa?
She certainly seems to like him.
Donald, Reba, come on everybody, dinner.
Oh, dinner time.
Oh, then you have the ballet, the Russian ballet.
I think it's gonna get scary. I'll put the arch where the snakes are. You wouldn't mind, Grandpa, would you?
Not even snakes, don't.
Wait, what if they're gonna get married? They'll want to have a church wedding.
Oh, of course, I love church weddings. Ask me a Russian.
Quiet. Well, sir, thank you. Remember that all we ask is to just go along in our own sort of way and be happy. Of course, we'd like to keep our health too, but as far as anything else is concerned, we'll leave it up to you. Thank you. So say goodbye to your plan.
Oh, catastrophic! Wait till the second fire background. It's gone. The third. I'm sorry, the third.
It'd be nice if you were here too, Tony.
You know what you're saying, don't you?
What?
rather spend the summer with me than anybody else.
Was I?
And if it's true about the summer, then how would you feel about the winter?
I'd like that too.
And then there's spring and autumn. If you could see your way clear about those, Miss Sycamore,
I might.
well, that's the whole year. We haven't forgotten anything, have we?
No.
Well then.
Alice, dear! Is that you? What time is it? Oh, Mr. Kirby. I had no idea. That is, I didn't mean to interrupt anything.
Oh, not at all, Mrs. Sycamore.
No, Mother.
Oh, well, I just came down for a manuscript. Then you can go right ahead. Ah, here it is. Sex takes a holiday. Well, good night, Tony.
Good night, Mrs. Sycamore.
I think you can call me Penny, don't you, Alice? Or at least I hope so.
What's that?
That's just Father.
This time of night?
Any time of night, any time of day.
You know, you're more beautiful, more wonderful, more adorable than any
Don't,
other.
Tony.
What, Alice? Just because your mother? Why, Penny's a darling. You see, I'm even calling her Penny.
It's not that. Listen, Tony. There's been something I've been meaning to tell you. But I got swept away because I loved you so.
Darling.
No, wait, Tony. I need to make this clear to you. You and I, we're of completely different worlds. A whole different kind of people. Oh, I don't mean money, socially. That's too silly. But your family and mine, it just wouldn't work, Tony. It just wouldn't work.
All right, all right. Have it your way. Then pay her all that money because she can't dance.
I don't call it dancing like she does. Ooh, hello. How was the ballet?
It was fine, Essie.
Wonderful.
Now look, what do you people think? Ed and I just saw Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Do you think she can dance, Mr. Kirby?
Why, yes, I always thought so.
What does she do anyhow? Look, you're Fred Astaire and I'm Ginger Rogers.
Essie, please.
I only want him for a moment.
You're much better than Ginger Rogers. We all agree.
You see, Ed?
Come on, Essie. I think we're butting in here.
They've been together all evening. Night.
Good night, Mrs. Carmichael.
Say, did you ever ask Grandpa about us having a baby?
Oh yeah, he said to go right ahead.
You see? That's what it would be like.
Why, I didn't mind that at all. And it wouldn't be your family living with us. It'd just be you and I.
No, Tony. It's never quite that. I love them. I love them deeply. Most people could break away, but I couldn't. I know they do rather strange things, but they're fun and they're gay and I don't know. There's a kind of nobility about them.
Darling, you talk as though only you can understand them. Why everybody's got a family. My father raises orchids at $10,000 a bulb. Is that sensible? And my mother believes in spiritualism. That's just as bad as your mother writing plays, isn't it?
It goes deeper, Tony. Your mother believes in spiritualism because it's fashionable. And your father raises orchids because he can afford to. My mother writes plays because 8 years ago, a typewriter was delivered here by mistake.
What of it?
And look at Grandpa. 35 years ago, he just quit business one day. He started up to work in the elevator, and he came right back down again. He could have been a rich man, but he said it took too much time. So for the past 35 years, he's just collected snakes and gone to circuses and commencements. It never occurs to any of them.
Good evening, children.
Good evening, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Hello, Grandpa.
How's the weather? Looks like a nice summer evening.
It was lovely, Grandpa.
Well, I'm off. It was great to meet you, Mr. Kirby. I have a date with a policeman.
Policeman?
Yes, standing date at 12:30 every night. I've known him since he was a little boy. See, he's really a doctor. But after he graduated, he came to me and said that he didn't want to be a doctor. He'd always wanted to be a policeman. So I told him, you know what? If you want to be a policeman, then you be a policeman. And that's just what he did. Oh, say, how do you like my new hat?
Very nice, Mr. Vanderhoff.
Oh, yes, I like it. The government gave it to me. It's a mighty fine hat.
Oh, I didn't know you folks were here.
It's all right, Donald.
Ripped up fences and candy and there it is. Y'all didn't want it, did you?
No, Donald.
Thanks. Did you have a nice evening?
Yes, Donald.
Nice dinner?
Yes, Donald.
Was the ballet nice?
Yes, Donald.
That is nice.
Now, do you see? Could you explain Donald to your father? Could you even explain Grandpa? You couldn't, Tony. I love you. And I love them too. And it's just no use, Tony. It's no use.
Darling, there's only one thing you just said that matters, that means anything at all. You love me.
But Tony, I know so well.
But darling, can't you just go on loving me and forget everything else?
How can I?
Because nothing can keep us apart. You know that. You must. They want you to be happy, don't they? They must.
I know they do. But they can't change, Tony. I wouldn't want them to change.
They won't have to change. They're charming, lovable people just as they are. You're worrying about something that may never come up.
Oh, Tony, am I?
All that matters right now is that we love each other. That's so, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well then.
Oh, Tony.
Now, I'd like to see a little gaiety around here. Young gentlemen calling, getting engaged and everything.
Well, what do I say?
Well, first, you thank the young man for getting engaged to you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kirby, for getting engaged to me.
And then you tell him what it was that first took your girlish heart.
The back of your head.
Huh?
It wasn't your charm, and it wasn't your money. It was the back of your head. I just liked it.
Well, what happened when I turned around?
Oh, I got used to it after a while.
You know, we're pretty lucky, aren't we?
I know I am. I'm the luckiest girl in the world.
I'm not exactly unlucky myself. Well, good night, darling. Until tomorrow.
Good night, Tony.
You know, it's fantastic that we work in the same office. Otherwise, I'd be hanging around here all day.
Won't it be funny in the office tomorrow? Seeing each other and going on as though nothing had happened.
Oh, I can dictate to you all day. Dear Miss Sycamore, I love you. I love you. I love you.
Oh, darling, you're such a fool.
Won't you meet me in the drugstore in the morning before we go up to the office? I'll
All
have
right.
millions of things to say to you.
All right.
And then lunch, and then dinner tomorrow night.
Oh, Tony, what will people say?
Paula's got to come out sometime. And if you know any good housetops, I'd like to do a little shouting.
Just nervous, Rebecca. We did a good night's work.
That's what? 500 Black Panthers, 300 willow trees, and 8 dozen junior baby bombers.
Pretty good. Well, hello, Alice. You just come in?
No, Father. I've been home for quite some time.
Have a nice evening?
Yes, Father. I've had the most beautiful evening.
Say, I'd like you to look at this new fire. Will you turn out the lights, Mr. Bethena? I want Alice to get the full effect.
What, Father?
Take a look at this light. It's beautiful. There. Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, yes, Father. Everything's beautiful. It's the most beautiful light in the world.
job. I'm ready to read you the new play, Miss Wellington, anytime you are.
Just a minute, dearie. Just a minute.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but you don't drink while you're acting, do you, Miss Wellington? I'm just asking, of course.
You know, I'm glad you brought it up. Once a play opens, I never touch a drop. The minute I enter the stage door, the bottle gets put away. Until intermission, of course.
Have you been on stage a long time, Miss Wellington?
All my life. Ever see Peg My Heart?
Yes.
I did too. Good show, wasn't it? Oh, say, it's a hot night, ain't it?
You want me to open up the window, Miss Wellington?
Nah, to hell with the weather. Say, he's cute.
Acting, she didn't mean anything.
Anytime you're ready, I thought we'd start upstairs and read the play in my room.
All right, dearie. I'm ready.
Miss Wellington, those are real. Miss Wellington, those are Grandpa's, the real.
When I see snakes, it's time to let down.
Oh, no, Miss Wellington, please don't.
She's out like a light.
Miss Wellington just passed out.
Good.
Do you think she'll be all right?
Yes, but I wouldn't cast her in the religious play.
Well, I suppose I'll just have to wait.
Next time you meet an actress on the top of a bus, I'd send her the play instead of having her over to read it.
And I wish you would stop printing and take those love dreams around. You've got to get back in time to play for me when Cooley and Troupe comes.
Cooley coming tonight?
Yes, tomorrow night is night, but I had to change it on account of Alice.
Oh, that's right. Big doings around here tomorrow night.
Isn't it exciting? You know, I'm so nervous. You think it was me he was engaged to instead of Alice?
What do you think they'll be like, his mother and father? Ed, what are you doing now?
Penny, did you see the new mask I made last night? Guess who it is?
No, wait a minute, Ed. Don't tell me. Helen of Troy.
It's Mrs. Roosevelt.
You know the nice thing about these Meccano sets? You can make so many different things with them. Last week, it was the Empire State Building.
What's it this week?
Queen Mary.
No, hasn't got the right hat on.
Look, Mr. Geppetto, can you check outside the front door and see if a man is standing out there?
Why? What for?
Well, every time I go out to deliver Essie's candies, someone follows me home.
Ed, you're crazy.
No, I'm not. Every time I go out to deliver candy, a man follows me home.
Really? I'll take a look and see.
What would somebody follow you for, Ed?
Well, there have been a lot of kidnappings going on, Grandpa.
Yes, but not of Ed.
Well,
There's nobody out there at all.
are you sure?
Positive. I just saw him walk away.
You see?
With anybody walking along the street, will you hurry up and get back?
Oh, all right. Mr. Sycamore, want to go down now and finish packing up the fireworks? Yeah, we've got to take the stuff up to Mount Vernon in the morning.
Mother, may I borrow some paper? I'm making out a list for Reba tomorrow night.
Yes, dear. Here's some.
Why, what happened to your actress friend? Is she giving a performance?
No, she's not acting, Alice. She's really drunk.
Essie dear, you're going to give Reba the whole kitchen tomorrow because she'll need it.
Yes, all those friendly love dreams are right now, so I'll be way ahead.
Thanks, dear. Now, Mother, I'll be home at 3 o'clock tomorrow. You'll have everything down in the basement by that time. The typewriter, and the sink, and the printing press, and the xylophone.
And Miss Wellington.
And Miss Wellington. That way I'll have time to arrange the table and fix the flowers.
The Kirby's are certainly going to get the wrong impression of this house.
You'll do all that, won't you?
Oh. seen of the boy, I am sure that the Kirbys are very nice people. And if everything doesn't go exactly as planned tomorrow, well, that's all right too.
Oh, darling, I'm not trying to impress them or pretend that we're anything we aren't. I want everything to go off well.
There's no reason it shouldn't, Alice.
We'll do everything we can to make it a nice party.
Oh, you guys are the most wonderful family in the world, and I'm the happiest girl in the world. I didn't know anyone could be so happy. Why, this past week has been like floating. Just seeing him, you don't know what it does to me.
Just seeing him? Just seeing him for lunch, and then dinner, and until 4 o'clock in the morning. And then, at 9 o'clock the next morning, you're at the office and there he is. Just seeing him, huh?
I don't care. I'm in love. Grandpa! Oh, Reba!
Nice, isn't it? How happy she seems.
Yes, I remember when I was engaged to Paul, how happy I was. And you know, I still feel that way.
I know. Oh, it's nice the way that Ed and Essie get along too, isn't it?
And Donald and Reba, even though they're not married. Do you think Mr. DePinna will ever get married?
Well, there is Miss Wellington.
Oh dear. I do wish he'd wake up for going to read the play tonight.
Sycamore, look what I found. Remember?
Oh, why, yes! It's my painting of you as the discus thrower. Look, Grandpa.
Oh, I remember it. Say, you gained a little weight since then, haven't you, Mr. DePinna?
Is it very noticeable?
That was just before I stopped painting, so 8 years.
It's a shame you never finished it, Mrs. Sycamore.
I always meant to, Mr. DePinna, but I started to write a play one day, and that was that. I never painted again.
Just as well, too. I was going to have to strip next.
I thought that day I came to deliver the ice 8 years ago, that I would have stayed.
Well, the milkman was here before you for 5 years.
Say, why did he leave anyhow? I forget.
Oh, he didn't leave, Mr. DePinna. He died.
Oh, yes.
He was such a nice man. Remember the funeral, Grandpa?
Oh, yes.
We didn't know his name, so it was kind of hard to get a death certificate.
Say, what name did we end up giving him anyhow?
Martin Vanderhoff. We gave him your
Right,
name.
I remember now. Worked out pretty well for me, too. I haven't gotten a letter from that day to this.
It really was a wonderful idea.
I really wish you'd finish this sometime, Mrs. Sycamore. I'd kind of like to have it.
You know what, Mr. DePinna? I think I'll do some work on it right tonight.
Say you will?
Yes, I don't think she's going to wake up anyhow. Look, Mr. DePinna, why don't you run down to the cellar and get on your costume? And get the easel. Is it still down there?
I think so.
Now, where did I put my palette brushes?
Good evening, everybody!
Good evening, Cooley.
Hello, Mr. Kolyankov. Essie's in the kitchen.
Madam Sycamore, I greet you. Grandpa, tell me, what should I do about little Ravishka? I keep on telling her she'd make a great Todasser, but she only laughs.
No, sir, Mr. Kolyankov. I couldn't get up on my toes. I got corns.
Little Ravishka, you could wear diamonds. A wonderful girl, Grandpa.
Yes, she is, Cooley.
What's that?
That? It's a picture of Mr. DePinna. Penny painted.
Oh, it stinks.
I know. Take a look at that.
What is that?
She's an actress, a friend of Penny's.
She's drunk, no?
She's drunk, yes! Oh. Say, how have you been, Kolyankov?
Oh, magnifico! Life is chasing around me like a little squirrel.
Tis, huh?
Yes.
How are things in Russia? You hear anything from your friend in Moscow?
Oh, yes. I have letter from him. Here I say for you the stamp.
Oh, well, thank you, Kolyankov.
sent him to Siberia.
They have. How's he like it?
He has escaped. Oh, come back to Moscow. He will get the Soviet government if they do not get to him. The Soviet government. I can take the whole government and...
I'm sorry I'm late, Mr. Kolyankov. I'll change into my fancy clothes right away.
Tonight we really want to have Pavlova. Tonight we take on something new.
Say, is he making any progress, Kolyankov?
Confidentially, she stinks.
Well, as long as she's having fun.
You sure do take a reba, Mr. Kolyankov. She's knocking her head off out there.
She is a wonderful woman. Donald, what do you think about the Soviet government?
The what, Mr. Kolyankov?
I would mark the question. What do you think of this government?
Oh, I like it fine. I'm on relief, you know.
Oh, and you like it?
Oh, yeah. Only thing is, I gotta go around to the place every week to get it. And sometimes, you gotta stay in line for pretty near half an hour. Government ought to be running better than that. Don't you think, Grandpa?
The government ought to stop sending me all these letters. They want me down at the United States Marshal's office at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Take a look at that.
Ah, income tax. They got to you too, Grandpa.
I'll say, they want me to pay a lot of money as to keep Donald here on relief.
For what? You don't pay from now on, Grandpa?
That's what they want, Donald.
Whoa, so you're telling me I can come here instead of standing in that line?
Oh, no, Donald. I'm afraid that you'll have to waste 30 minutes of your time every week.
Well, I don't like it. Breaks up my week!
He should have been in Russia when the revolution came. Then he would have stood in line. A bread line! Oh, Grandpa, what have they done to Russia? Just think of it. The Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina, the cousin of the Tsar, is a waitress in Child's Restaurant in Times Square. I ordered baked beans from her just the other day, and it broke my heart. A crazy world this is, Grandpa.
The world's not so crazy, Kolyankov, but it's the people in it. Life's pretty simple if you just relax.
How can you relax at a time like this?
If people relaxed, there wouldn't be times like these. That's just my point. The problem is, Kolyankov, people forget that. I know I did. I used to be right out in the thick of it. Fighting, scratching, regular jungle. Then one day it just sort of occurred to me, I wasn't having any fun.
Then what did you do?
Oh, just relax. 35 years ago that was, Kolyankov, and I have been a happy man ever since.
Good evening, Mr. Kolyankov.
Oh, Miss Alice! I have not yet seen you to present my congratulations!
Thank you, Mr. Kolyankov.
May you be very happy and have many children. That is my prayer to you!
That's quite a thought.
Love. Love is all that's left in this world, Grandpa.
Yes, but there's a lot of that.
And soon, Stalin will take that away too. I tell you, Grandpa.
It's so nice to get in my art things again. They still look all right, don't they, Grandpa?
Yes, indeed.
You are Brett the Perry. Madam Sickle.
Why, thank you, Mr. Kolyankov.
I didn't know you worked for the WPA.
Oh, no, Donald. You see, I used to paint all the time.
It happened to me again. There I was out delivering candy and a man followed me home.
Nonsense, Ed. It's just your imagination.
No, it's not! It happens every time we go out to deliver candy.
Well, maybe he just wants a piece of candy.
It's easy for you to say, Grandpa, but it's not happening to you.
You do not know what following is. In Russia, everybody was followed. I was followed right out of Russia.
You see, Ed, it's just your imagination.
Well, I guess.
Ah, here we are.
Where do you want this? On there?
Right here, Mr. Dino.
And for tonight's lesson, we use the first movement of Gerald.
Okay.
Has something happened to your figure these 8 years, Mr. Dino?
I don't think so.
Yes, Miss Wellington? Yes? Oh dear.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cooley and Cough. I couldn't find my slippers.
We have a hot night for my Pavlova, but art is only cheap through restoration.
Why, that's wonderful, Mr. Coley and Cobb. Did you hear that, Grandpa? Art is only achieved through perspiration.
Yes, but it helps if you have a little talent with it, too. I only made 2 bowls out of this. I gotta do better than that.
Are you ready?
Ready.
We begin. Now, feel it. Feel it. Oh, come on, you can do that. It's been 8 years now. Onto shot. Onto shot. No, you see, Greco, you cannot relax when songs in Russia. The Tsar relaxed and look what happened to him.
He was too late.
Not. And he had not relaxed the Grand Duchess not be silly baked things today. I'm sorry. We go back.
Mr. DePinna, did you suck in your stomach?
That's right.
We gotta make the balls high.
A little free with the head. So hey, help with the music. The music must be free too. Now, onto shots. Onto shots. Onto shots. Onto shots.
Oh, I got one, Don! I got one!
Come on inside.
Are we too early?
No, not at all. We weren't doing it.
No, just we weren't expecting you till tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
What? It's perfectly fine. We really weren't doing anything.
Oh, no, just a quiet evening at home.
Yeah.
What do y'all do possibly done? I don't know, Father.
Really, Tony? This is most embarrassing.
No, it's quite all right. Now, this is Alice's mother, Miss Sycamore.
How do you do?
How do you do?
And that is Alice's sister, Miss Carmichael. Her husband, Mr. Carmichael. Her dance teacher, Mr. Kolyenkoff. And, that's Mr. DePinna.
Don't mind my costume. I'll take it back.
No, Mr. DePinna, don't!
Why don't you go down to the cellar and tell Mr. Sycamore that Mr. and Mrs. Kirby are here?
And put some pants on.
All right. Excuse me. No.
I'll tell Alice that you're
Oh.
Alice! Alice, dear!
What is it?
Would you come down, dear? We've got a surprise for you.
Quite a surprise. May I take your wrap, Miss Kirby?
Well, thank you, if you're perfectly sure that...
What was in the kitchen? In the kitchen, Ed.
You see, we're so used to around the house.
I'm sorry to trouble you, but snakes happen to be...
I feel very uncomfortable about this, Tony. It was very careless of you. Very. Sorry, Father.
Oh, now, Mr. Kirby, anybody can get mixed up.
Penny, why don't we work on finding some dinner for these folks? They've come for dinner, you know.
Please, don't bother. We're really not hungry at all.
It's not a bit of a bother. Ed, will you tell Donald to run down to the A&P and get half a dozen bottles of beer and some canned salmon? Do you like canned salmon, Mr. Kirby?
Oh, please don't trouble me, Miss Sycamore. I have a little indigestion anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about you, Mrs. Kirby? Do you like canned salmon?
Oh, I'm very fond of it.
You can have frankfurters if you'd rather.
Either one will do.
Well, make it frankfurters and some canned corn and Campbell soup. Got that, Ed?
Got it.
And tell them to hurry.
Okay.
The
appearance.
This is Mr. Sigmore's busiest time of year, right before the 4th of July, when he has all the music.
Oh, darling, I'm the most dull-witted person in the world. I thought it was tonight.
I'm so sorry. I can't imagine why I wasn't. Have you all met each other?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
How do you do, Alice?
How do you do, Mrs. Kirby? I'm afraid I'm not very presentable.
Oh, darling, you look lovely.
Why, of course she does. I hope this doesn't upset you, my dear. We've all just met each other a night sooner, that's all.
But I was planning such a nice party for tomorrow night.
Then we'll come again tomorrow.
Here you are, Alice. Am I forgiven?
I guess we better see about getting you some dinner.
That's all been taken care of, Alice. That's all been attended to.
But what did you send out for? Because Mr. Kirby has indigestion. He can only eat certain things.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
I asked him what he wanted, Alice.
Yes, but
Now, it's not as serious as all that. Just because I have a little indigestion.
Perhaps it's not indigestion at all, Mr. Kirby. Perhaps it's stomach ulcers.
don't be absurd, Mr. Kolyankov.
You mustn't mind Mr. Kolyankov. He's Russian, and Russians tend to look on the darker side.
Fine, I'm Russian. But a friend of mine, a Russian, has died from stomach ulcers.
Please, Mr. Kolyankov.
Fine. Let him wait.
Why don't you have a seat, Mr. Kirby? Just make yourself at home. Yes. How do you find business conditions today, Mr. Kirby? Are we pretty well out of the depression? Yes. Well, of course, I think so. But you suppose it's going to continue to improve? Broadly speaking, yes. As a matter of fact, industry is now operating at a full 64% capacity, as compared to 82% in 1925. But of course, in 1929,
There once was a lady from Wheeling who had quite a remarkable feeling. He sat in his chair, she played with his hair. And then she went upstairs for the evening.
That might seem rather strange to you folks, but she's not quite accountable for her actions. She's an actress friend of Penny's. She came over for dinner and was overcome by the heat. Oh,
Yes, you
the
know,
heat.
some people feel it more than others. Perhaps I better check her. Excuse me.
It is awful hot, but you escape all this hot weather, don't you, Mrs. Kirby? Up in Maine.
As a rule, I do, however, must come down this week for the flower show.
Oh, Mother wouldn't miss that for the world. That flower show's a high spot of her year.
I won a blue ribbon in a flower show once for raising onions. Remember, Alice?
That was a garden show, Essie.
Oh, yeah. I think she'll be all right. Has Donald come back yet?
No, he hasn't.
I'm afraid you must be starved.
Oh no, quite all right. But what's this? I didn't know there were little children in the house.
Oh no, that's mine.
I suppose every man has his hobby, or do you use that as a model of some kind?
No, I just play with it.
I see.
Maybe you'd be better off if you had a hobby like that, Father, instead of raising orchids.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, do tell us all about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. Did you know that some take almost 6 years to come up? Just think of that.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I've got an orchid coming along now that I've waited 10 years for.
Believe it or not, I waited for an orchid once.
Ah, yes. And orchids at that time take most scrupulous care. I remember a bulb I was once very fond of.
Oh, Donald!
Here we are. Do you have anything?
Yes, but only they didn't have any Frankenburgers, so I got pickled pigs.
Never mind,
Oh,
Donald!
my favorite.
yes it is. But I believe that a hobby is never expensive when it brings one such sufficient pleasure.
That's very true.
You see, I need something to relieve the daily nerve strain. A week on Wall Street, and I'd go crazy if I didn't have something like that. A lot of men I know have yachts for that very reason.
Why don't they just give up Wall Street?
How's that?
I was just joking.
I think that's important for everybody to have a hobby. Of course, to me, it's much more than just a mere hobby. But my great solace is spiritualism.
Spiritualism? Everybody knows that's a fake, Mrs. Kirby.
To me, Mrs. Sycamore, spiritualism is, well, I would rather not discuss it, Mrs. Sycamore.
Remember now, Penny, you've got one or two hobbies of your own.
Yes, not silly ones.
Now, Penny, I don't think it matters what the hobby is. I just think it's important for somebody to have one.
To be ideal, a hobby must include the body as well as the mind. For example, the Romans. They were magnificent people. But what did they do? What was their hobby? Wrestling. In wrestling, you have to think quick with the mind and react quickly with the body.
Ah, yes, but I'm afraid wrestling's not practical for most of us. I wouldn't make a good showing as a wrestler.
Oh no, Mr. Kirby. You make a great wrestler. You're built for it. Look. Mr. Kirby, but next time when we wrestle, we won't be needing glasses.
I do not intend to wrestle again, Mr. Cooley.
Well, better sit down, Father.
I do.
How would you do such a thing, Mr. Cooley? Why didn't anybody stop him?
I think if you all wouldn't mind, that we had better be going.
No, please don't leave.
Oh, please don't go, Mrs. Kirby, please. Oh, Mr. Kirby, please. I ordered you some scrambled eggs and plain salad. Oh, please don't go.
I am terribly sorry if I did anything that offended you, Mr. Kirby. And I apologize.
I can't tell you how sorry I am, Mr. Kirby. If I had been here, this...
It's quite all right. It's quite all right.
It's all right, Alice. We're not going.
Well, that was exciting for a minute, wasn't it?
You were talking about your orchids, Mr. Kirby. What's your favorite variety?
I'm afraid I've quite forgotten about my orchids.
I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Kirby.
What did I do that was so wrong? I threw him on the floor. Did it kill him?
I'm sure dinner won't be any time at all now.
Oh, I have some freshly made candies in the kitchen if you want some.
My doctor does not permit me to eat candy, thank you.
But these are nothing. It's just coconut and marshmallow with fudge.
Essie,
Miss Alice.
if you'll excuse me. What is it, Reba?
The eggs cut on the sink.
Well, it makes more quick.
I ain't got it.
Well, it's Josh got for some.
Okay.
And tell him to hurry. I'm sorry that the least a little delay.
Well, I've certainly put you people through a lot of trouble with my stupidity.
No, not at all, Tony. It's perfectly fine.
Look, why don't we play a game of some sort while we wait?
Why that'd be fine.
I have the great idea. I know a wonderful trick. With a glass of water.
I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Kirby would love this game. It's perfectly harmless.
I'm not very good at games, Miss Sycamore.
That's all right, Mr. Kirby. Any fool can play this game. All you do is write your name on a piece of paper.
Mother, they don't want to play.
They'll love it. Here you are, Mr. Kirby. Write your name on that piece of paper. And Mrs. Kirby, do the say chair. You might put down table. It shows the reactions people have to different things. You see how simple it is, Mr. Kirby.
Oh, come on, Father. Be a sport.
Very well. I shall be happy to play.
You see, he does want to play.
Well,
Now, is everyone ready?
Grunty.
Now, we must play fair. Write down the first thing that comes to your mind. All ready?
Yes.
The first word is potatoes. Potatoes. All ready?
Yes.
The next word is bathroom.
mother.
Bathroom. Got that?
Go ahead.
All ready?
Yes.
The next word is lust.
Mother, this is not exactly.
Nonsense. Alice, that word's all right.
It is not all right.
Oh, I don't know, Alice. To me, that seems like that's a perfectly fair word.
You see, now you mustn't interrupt the game.
May I have that last word again, Miss Sycamore?
Lust, Mr. Kirby.
I've got it.
Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Yes.
The next word is honeymoon. Ezzy, Ed. All right. The last word is sex.
Mother!
Everybody got sex?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now hand me a paper. Ezzy, could you get the pencil?
Yep.
What happens now?
Oh, now this is the best part. I get to read your reactions.
Oh.
It's a very interesting game.
I knew you'd like it, Mr. Kirby.
Oh, you still need mine.
Sorry, Grandpa.
Thank you.
I will read yours first, Mr. Kirby, since you like it so much. Listen, everybody. This is Mr. Kirby. Potatoes. Steak. That's very good. See how they go together, steak and potatoes.
I just happened to think of it.
It's very good, Mr. Kirby. The next word is bathroom. Toothpaste. Yes. Lust. Unlawful. Well. Honeymoon. Trip. Of course. Sex. Male. Why, of course you are, Mr. Kirby.
It's more than just a game, you know. It's actually an experiment in psychology.
Exactly. It shows exactly how your mind works. Now, we'll see how Mrs. Kirby's mind works. Potatoes. Starch. I know exactly what you mean. Ooh. Bathroom. Mr. Kirby.
What's that?
I don't know what I meant. It's just, I thought of you in connection with it, that's all. You are in there a good deal, Anthony. You know, bathing and shaving and, well, you do take a long time.
Indeed. I hadn't realized I'd been selfish in the matter. Go on, Miss Sycamore.
This is really a silly game. We ought to play something else.
Yes.
No. Go on, Miss Sycamore.
Where was I? Ah, lust. Human.
Human? Really, Miriam?
What I meant, Anthony, is that lust is, after all, a human emotion.
I do not agree with you. Lust is depraved.
Very well, Anthony. I am wrong.
This really is the most pointless game. Suppose we play 20 questions.
Yes.
No! I find this game rather interesting. What was the next word, Miss Sycamore?
Honeymoon.
And what was Mrs. Kirby's answer?
Honeymoon. Doll.
Did you say doll?
What I meant, Anthony, was that Hot Springs was not very lively that season. What with all the old people sitting out on the porch all day long, and absolutely nothing to do at night,
That was
and
not your reaction at the time, as I recall it.
Father, this is only a game.
A very illuminating game. Go on, Miss Sycamore.
This one's all right, Mr. Kirby. Sex. Wall Street.
Wall Street?
I don't know what I meant, Anthony, nothing.
You must have meant something by it, or you wouldn't have written it down.
It's just the first word that came into my mind, Anthony, that's all.
But what does it mean? Sex? Wall Street?
Oh, I don't know. It's just that you're always talking about Wall Street, even when we... I don't know what I could have
engagement tomorrow night, Mrs. Kirby. I mean,
Perhaps we better postpone the whole affair for a while. You know, the hot weather and
I think we're being very ungracious, Father. Of course we'll stay to dinner. Tonight.
Tony, I have a very bad headache.
Come, Tony. I'm sure everyone understands.
Well, I don't. I think we ought to stay.
No, Tony. You were fools, Tony, ever to think that this would work. Mr. Kirby, I won't be in the office tomorrow. I won't be there at all anymore.
Alice, what do you mean?
I'm sorry, my dear. Very sorry. It's been a pleasure to have met you all.
Yes, lovely.
Darling, you mustn't mind this.
Are you coming, Tony?
No, Father. I am not.
Very well. Your mother and I will be waiting for you at home. Good night.
Good night.
Stay right where you are, everybody. Don't move.
This is an outrage.
Shut up, you.
Which one is it?
This is it.
Ed?
What? What are you doing? Sit down, you.
What's going on?
Shut up. What's your name?
Edward Carmichael.
I demand an explanation.
Shut up.
Grandpa, what's going on?
Now, what is all of this, officer? We're the Department of Justice.
Oh my goodness, David!
Hey, what have you done?
What's the boy done, officer?
I haven't done anything.
What's he done? Does that door lead to the cellar?
Yes.
Yes. Now, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Go take a look upstairs and see what you find.
Okay.
Now you. What are these stuff?
They're my
You
circulars.
print this stuff, huh?
Yes, but I didn't
You
mean it.
didn't! Dynamite the White House! Dynamite the Capitol! God is the state, and the state is God.
Well, yes, I do print those things, but you see, printing is just a hobby. Isn't that right, Grandpa?
Now, officer, the government is in no danger at all from that. Printing is just his hobby. He'll print anything.
He does.
I've never heard of such nonsense.
I refuse to stay here. Let me do my part.
Who are you?
Let me get my pie.
Shut up, you. What's going on? Right, Chief. They've got enough gunpowder down there to blow up the whole city. Keep
without a permit.
Yeah, they kept me in the same cell with a strip teaser from a burlesque show.
I was going to tell Mr. Kirby. Mine was mad.
Mrs. Kirby and the strip teaser, they were fighting all night.
A whole lot about Mr. Kirby here. Anthony W. Kirby, head of Kirby and Company, 62 Wall Street, who was among those apprehended. Now, he declared he had no way interested in the manufacturing of fireworks, but refused to state why he was on the premises at the time of the raid. Mr. Kirby is a member of the Union Club, the Record Club, the Harvard Club, and the National Geographic Society. My, he sure is a joiner.
All the rich men are elks or something.
You know, I suppose after all this, Mr. Tony ever going to marry Miss Alice?
No, sir. And it's too bad, too. Alice sure does love that boy.
Ever notice how rich folks are always getting themselves into trouble?
Yes, I'm glad I'm poor.
Me too.
You know, I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that food out in the kitchen. Ain't gonna be no party tonight, that's for sure.
Well, ain't we gonna eat it anyhow?
Well, I'm cooking it, but nobody's gonna have an appetite.
I'm hungry.
They ain't. They're also broke up about Miss Alice.
What's she want to go away for? Where is she going anyway?
I don't know. Mountains someplace. But she's going all right, no matter what they say. I know Alice when she gets that look in her eye.
That's too bad, ain't it?
Sure is.
Not even a balloon left. Look.
How's your hand, Mr. DePena? Better?
Yes, it's better. Is there some more olive oil left in there?
It's in the salad bowl.
Thanks.
Well, she's going. Nothing anybody said could change her.
She's not staying a long way, is she, Mrs. Sycamore?
I don't know, Reba.
It's gonna be lonesome around here without her.
How do you feel, Miss Sycamore?
I'm all right, Donald. Just kind of upset. Perhaps if I do some work, I'll feel better.
Well then, I won't bother you then, Miss Sycamore.
She's going, Penny.
Yes?
Now, Penny.
I can't help it, Paul. Somehow I feel it's our fault.
It's mine more than yours, Penny. All these years, I've just been going along, enjoying myself, when maybe I should have been thinking more about Alice.
Oh, don't say that, Paul. You've been a wonderful father and a husband, too.
No, I haven't. Maybe if I'd gone ahead and been an architect, I don't know, something Alice could be proud of. I felt that all last night, looking at Mr. Kirby.
But we've been so happy.
I know, but maybe that's not enough. I used to think it was, but I'm all mixed up now.
When is she going?
Pretty soon. Train leaves at 7:30.
If only she'd see Tony. Maybe he could persuade her.
But she won't, Penny. He's been trying all day.
Where is he now?
I don't know. I suppose walking around the block again. Anyhow, she won't talk to him.
Maybe he could catch her on her way out.
It won't help, Penny.
I suppose not. I feel so sorry for Tony, too. Well, Grandpa?
Now, Penny, just leave the girl alone.
But, Grandpa...
Suppose she goes to the Adirondacks. She'll come home. A person can only take so much Adirondacks before they come home.
But it's all so terrible, Grandpa.
In a way, but there's a bright side to it, too.
How do you mean?
Well, Mr. Kirby getting into that patrol wagon, for one thing. Oh, and his face when he and Donald had to take a bath together. I won't forget that if I live to be 100. And I warn you people, I intend to. As long as I can have things like that going on.
Well, it was worse for Mrs. Kirby when the matron stripped her. There was this burlesque dancer there singing a strip song as she undressed.
Oh, I'll bet you Bar Harbor is going to seem pretty dull to the Kirbys this summer. Alice, can I help you with those?
Here. No thanks, Grandpa. I'm just going to pass these.
I'll bring the big bag down as soon as you're ready, Alice.
Thank you.
Would you like some candies for the train, Alice?
No thanks, Essie.
You know, you could be just as alone here as you could in the mountains, and you could stay up in your room all the time.
No, Mother. I need to get away. I love you, but I have to get away from everything. I'll be all right. Father, did you phone for a cab?
No, I didn't know you wanted one.
I told Mr. DePena to tell you, Paul. Didn't he tell you?
No. Oh, no, he told me, but I forgot.
I wish I lived in a family that didn't always forget everything, that behaved the way other people's family behave. I'm sick of cornflakes and of Donald and of everything. Why can't we be like normal people? Roast beef and 2 green vegetables and doilies on the table and a place where you can bring your friends without... Oh!
I'll see if I can do anything.
Let me see the door.
you listen to me, please?
No, Tony, it's no use!
Darling, you're not being fair. At least let me talk to you.
Where'd they go?
Upstairs.
She walked right out the minute he came in.
Knocked the olive oil right out of my hand. I'm gonna smell kind of fishy.
How's your hand feeling, Mr. DePena? Still hurting you?
No, it's better.
Everything burns up, huh? Downstairs?
Everything. My Roman costume, too.
I told you there was a bright side to everything. Oh, everything but my 20-something years back income tax. I get another letter every day.
What are you gonna do about that, Grandpa?
Well, I had sort of an idea the other day, but it might not work. I think I'm going to try it anyhow.
Well, what is it?
Good evening, everybody!
Good evening, Cooley and Cobb.
Why, Mr. Cooley and Cobb?
You forgive me? The door was already open.
Oh, come on in.
Thank you. You forgive me coming today. I understand you all are upset.
That's all right, Mr. Cooley and Cobb.
I don't think I can do a lesson today, Mr. Kolyankov. I don't feel like dancing.
I understand, my Pavlova. I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, but please do stay for dinner, Mr. Cooley and Cobb. We have all that food and someone's got to eat it.
Well, I'd be happy to.
Fine.
Now, I wonder if I know you all very well enough to ask you a great favor.
Why, of course.
Do you remember me talking to my friend, the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina?
Yes.
She's a cousin to Czar, and she's a waitress at Child's Restaurant in Times Square.
If there's anything at all that we can do, Mr. Cooley and Cobb.
I tell you, she has not had a good meal since the revolution.
She must be hungry.
And today is not only her day off. Thursday is also the anniversary of Peter the Great, our remarkable man.
Well, if you mean you'd like the Grand Duchess to come to dinner, why, we'd be honored.
Oh, yes!
Oh, and the name of the Grand Duchess, I thank you.
Well, isn't that exciting? Where is she now?
Oh, she's right outside waiting. I go bring her in.
If things go on like this, I'm going to live to be 150.
May I present the Grand Duchess, Olga Katrina. Oh. Your Highness permits me to present to you Madam Sycamore. Madam Carmichael. Grandpa.
Madam.
Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Sycamore. And Mr. DePena.
Oh, that's quite enough now, Mr. DePena.
Would you be seated, Your Highness?
Thank you. You are most kind.
We are honored to receive you, Your Highness.
I am most happy to be here. How soon is dinner?
Oh, very soon, Your Highness, very soon.
I do not mean to be rude, but I must be back at the restaurant by 8 o'clock. I am substituting for another waitress.
I will make sure that you are on time, Your Highness.
Thank you, Kolyankov.
Duchess, I think you waited on me once at Child's. The one on 72nd Street?
No, that is my sister.
The Grand Duchess Natasha.
I work in Times Square.
Oh.
Quite a lot of your folks over here now, aren't there?
Ah, yes, many. My uncle, the Grand Duke Sergei. He is an elevator man at Macy's. Very nice man. Then there is my cousin, Prince Alexis. He does not talk to the rest of us, because he works at Haiti Carnegie. He is in ladies' underwear.
When he was selling hot dogs in Coney Island, he was willing to talk to you then.
Ah, yes, Kolyankov, but our time is coming. My sister Natasha is studying to be a manicurist. And my uncle Sergei was promised floor walker. And next month, I am transferred to 5th Avenue's Child's. And then from there, it is only one step to Threats. Then we will see what Prince Alexis has to say.
I think you've got it.
You are telling me!
Did you know the Tsar, Your Highness? Personally, I mean.
Of course, he was my cousin. It was terrible what happened to him. But perhaps it was for the best. Where could he get a job now?
they say about Rasputin?
Everyone wants to know about Rasputin. And yes, my dear sir, it is true. And how?
You don't say.
Your Highness, we must watch the time.
Oh, yes, I mustn't be late. My manager does not like me. He is a communist.
Oh.
We'll hurry things up. Essie, go see if Rita needs help in the kitchen.
I would love to help. I'm a great cook.
Not on your day off, Your Highness.
I do not mind. Where is your kitchen?
It's right through there, but you're the guest of honor, your
But
majesty.
I love to cook. Come, Polyanka. If they got sour cream and pot cheese, I will make you some blintzes.
Ah, Francis! Come, Pavlova. We show you something.
Say, the Duchess is all right, isn't she? Hey, Duchess, can I help?
Gee, she's got a wonderful face for a mask, doesn't she?
Oh, yes.
She is a nice woman, considering she's a Grand Duchess.
Pretty wonderful what some people can go through and still stay kind of cheerful.
She made me forget about everything for a minute.
I suppose I'd better call that cab.
No, wait, Paul. Here they come. Maybe Tony has.
Ed, will you go up and bring that other bag down?
Don't you do it, Ed.
Ed, please.
All right. Bring it down. Do you know that you have the stubbornest daughter in all the 48 states?
That must be the cab.
If it is, they sure have excellent service.
Yes, Mr. Kirby. Come in.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How do you do?
I hope you'll forgive my intruding. Tony, I want you to come home with me. Your mother is very upset.
Very well, Father. Goodbye, Alice.
Goodbye, Tony.
I hardly need to say that this is as difficult for Mrs. Kirby and I as it is for you all, but I'm sure you understand.
Well, yes, but in a way, no. Now, Mr. Kirby, I'm not the kind of person who tries to run other people's lives, but the fact is, I don't think these two young people have quite as much sense as you and I have.
Grandpa, will you please not do this?
Now, Alice, I'm just talking to Mr. Kirby.
You want me to do that for you, Alice?
No thanks, Mother.
You've got quite a while before the train goes out.
Hello, will you send a cab to 761 Claremont right away, please? That's right. Thank you.
Alice.
Mother.
Are you ready, Tony?
Mr. Kirby, I suppose that after last night, you think this family is kind of crazy.
I wouldn't say that, Mr. Vanderhoff, although I'm not accustomed to going out to dinner and spending the night in jail.
Well, you gotta remember, Mr. Kirby, you came on the wrong night. I'll bet if you come to dinner tonight, nothing will happen at all. Maybe.
It was not merely last night that convinced Mrs. Kirby and I that this engagement would be unwise.
Father, I can handle my own affairs. Now, Alice, for the last time, will you marry me?
No, Tony. I know exactly what your father means. And he's right.
No, he's not.
Alice, you're in love with this boy and you're not marrying him because of the kind of people we are.
Yes, but Grandpa.
Oh, I know. You think that the two families wouldn't get along. Well, maybe they wouldn't. But who's to say that they're right and we're wrong?
Grandpa, I only feel
Well, what I feel is that Tony here is too nice of a boy to wake up 20 years from now with nothing in his life but stocks and bonds.
How's that?
Yes, mixed up and unhappy, the way you are.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Vanderhoff, but I'm a very happy man.
Are you?
I most certainly am.
I don't think so, Mr. Kirby. Where do you think you get your indigestion from? All of your happiness? No, sir. You get your indigestion because most of your time is spent doing things that you don't want to do.
I don't do anything I don't want to do.
Yes, you do. You said so last night at dinner that after a week on Wall Street, you're pretty near crazy. Why do you keep on doing it?
Why do I keep on? Well, it's my business. A man can't give up this business.
Why not? You got all the money you need. You can't take it with you.
That's a very easy thing to say, Mr. Vanderhoff, but I've spent my entire life building up my business.
And what's it got you? Same kind of mail every morning? Same kinds of deals? Same kinds of meetings? Same dinners at night? And the same indigestion? Where does the fun come in, Mr. Kirby? Don't you think you're missing something? I mean, you've got to want something more. We haven't got much time left. Any of us.
Well, what do you expect me to do? Live the way you do? Do nothing?
Well, I have a lot of fun. Time enough to read, talk, visit the zoo now and then, play my darts. Even time enough to notice when spring comes around, Mr. Kirby. I don't do anything I don't want to do. And I haven't taken bicarbonate of soda in 35 years. What's the matter with that?
The matter with that? Suppose we all did it. A fine world we'd have. All of us going to the zoos. Don't be ridiculous, Mr. Vanderhoff. Who would do the work?
What? There's always people to do the work, Mr. Kirby. You can't stop them. Inventions, and they'll fly the oceans. And there are always people to go down to Wall Street too, Mr. Kirby, because they like it. But the fact is, I don't think you're one of them, Mr. Kirby. I think you're missing something.
I'm not aware of missing anything.
Well, I wasn't either, until I quit. I used to wake up at 9 o'clock and be at that office no matter how I felt. I used to lay in bed and worry whether I'd make the next deal or not. I used to worry about the world too, Mr. Kirby, whether Cleveland or Blaine would win the election. And it all seemed so important at the time. But looking back now, I mean, who cares? I guess what I'm trying to get across, Mr. Kirby, is that I've had a good 35 years that no matter what they do to the world, nobody can take away from me. You see?
I see, Mr. Vanderhoff, but it's a very dangerous philosophy. It's exactly why Mrs. Kirby and I are opposed to this marriage. I don't want Tony to come under its influence.
What's the matter with it, Father?
The matter with it? Why, it's downright communism.
Oh, you didn't always think so.
What are you talking about? Of course I did.
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You didn't always think so, because there was a time where you wanted to be a trapeze artist.
Don't be an idiot, Tony.
Oh, I saw those letters you wrote to Grandfather. Do you remember those?
No. How dare you read those letters? How dare you?
Why, that's wonderful, Mr. Kirby. Did you wear tights?
Most certainly not. This whole thing is absurd. I was merely 14 at the time.
Oh, yes, but at 18, you wanted to be a saxophone player.
Tony!
And at 21, you ran away from home because Grandfather tried to push you into business. It's all down there in black and white. You didn't always think so.
Well, well, well.
I, man, had my silly notions in my youth, but thank God my father knocked them out of me. That's when I started the business and forgot about it.
Oh, not altogether, Father. There's still a saxophone in the back of your clothes closet.
There is?
That's enough, Tony. We'll discuss this later.
No. I want to talk about it now. I think Mr. Vanderhoff is right. Dead right. I've always hated the business, and I'm never going back. And I'll tell you something else. I didn't make a mistake last night. I knew it was the wrong move. I brought you here on purpose.
Tony, for heavens!
Because I wanted to wake you up. I wanted you to see a real family, the way they really were. A family who loved and understood each other. You don't understand me. You've never had the time. Well, I'm not making your mistake. I'm clearing out.
You're clearing out? What do you mean?
I mean, I'm not going to be pushed into the business just because I'm your son. I'm getting out while there's still time.
What are you going to do, Tony?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll be a bricklayer. But at least I'll be doing something that I want to do.
That must be the cab.
Ed, tell them to wait a minute.
Grandpa!
Now, Alice. Mr. Kirby, I really think you ought to listen to Tony. I think if you listen to him, you'd hear yourself saying some of those same things to your father 25 years ago. We all said them, and we were right. How many of us would be willing to settle when we're young for what we eventually get? All those hopes and dreams? Whatever happens to those, Mr. Kirby? It's only a lucky few who can look back and say that they really ever accomplished anything. So, if I were you, Mr. Kirby, I'd try to get in a few more hours on that saxophone.
Oh, I beg your pardon, but before I make the blinkies, how many would that be for dinner?
Duchess, this is Mr. Kirby and Mr. Kirby Jr., the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina.
How do you do? Now, before I make the blinkies, how many would that be for dinner?
Oh, I'd make quite a stack of them, Your Highness. Never can tell.
Good. The Tsar always told me, Olga, do not be stingy with the blinkies!
Who did you say that was, Mr. Vanderhoff?
Oh, her? That's the Grand Duchess Olga Katrina. She's cooking dinner.
Oh.
Speaking of dinner, Mr. Kirby, why don't you stay? It's going to be quite a meal.
Please do, Mr. Kirby. We have all that food that we were going to have last night. I mean, tonight.
What do you say, Mr. Kirby? It'd be a great chance for the families to get acquainted.
How about it, Father? Are we staying?
Well, if you'd care to, Tony, I'd love to.
Now, Mr. Vanderhoff, you could see about Alice sending away that cab.
What do you say, Alice? It looks like it's going to be a pretty good crowd.
I'm saying, Alice, don't you think the families ought to get to know each other?
Mr. Kirby? Tony? Oh, Tony!
Darling.
Oh, Grandpa, you're wonderful.
I've been telling you that for years.
Here are the letters that came for you, Grandpa. I left them in the icebox.
Oh.
How do you do?
How do you do?
You'll step into my office, Miss Sycamore. I'd like to do a little dictating. I'd better go tell that cab to leave once and for all.
Well, well, well.
What is it, Grandpa?
The United States government apologizes. It seems that I died 8 years ago and don't owe them a nickel.
How did you manage that?
You remember Charlie the Milkman? Well, I simply wrote the government and said that they made a mistake, that I was Mr. Vanderhoff Jr., and that Mr. Vanderhoff died 8 years ago. It seems that I don't owe them a nickel, they're apologizing, and I might even get a refund.
My Grandpa, you're an old crook.
Sure am.
Pardon me, Mr. Vanderhoff, but how'd you say you escaped all that income tax?
Oh, tonight, my friends, you are going to read.
Well, hello then.
How do you do? What just happened?
Oh, he's just relaxing, Cooley and Cough.
Okay.
Play something, Ed.
All right.
Everyone, please sit down. Dinner will be ready in just a moment.
You like Russian food, Mr. Curry? Ah, everyone loves Russian food.
I'm the man for later.
You see, in Russia, when we sit down for dinner, we let the children sit first. Oh.
Okay, quiet, everybody, quiet. Well, sir, here we are again. It looks like Tony and Alice are going to get married, and they sure do seem happy about it. Of course, all the fireworks blew up, but that was Mr. DePetta's fault, not yours. Please, just remember that all we ask is to go our own special way and be happy. Of course, we'd all like to keep our health, but as far as anything else is concerned, we'll leave it up to you. Thank you.
Grandpa, do you remember my friend? He's very secretary. He has escaped again.
Oh, save me the stand.
I will. Please. This family is great.
show would not be possible. So if you will bear with us, and we would like to recognize these people now because they deserve just as much credit as the actors.
Okay, I'll talk first. Hi. I don't know that. My mom, Nancy Harkin, is the Booster Club president, and she helped so much this happen. She's planned a beautiful, along with other Booster moms, a beautiful cast party for us, and she helped bring food and fed us on Monday night when we were here late for rehearsal, and she does so much for us. And there's a card around here somewhere. Just give me a second. Here we go, so mommy.
She helps with the cast party, and she's always working with concessions in the drama boosters and all. So, Mom.
She's head of hospitality crew, and she helped organize all of the concessions and everything. So all that wonderful food. Thank you, Mom.
I also have a mom. She does something for drama, with getting people to join or whatnot. So I have a card for that wonderful woman, whoever she is.
I have a card for my mother, who also helps with drama stuff. And she's just been an overall support of the Fine Arts program here. She gave us food one time. Yeah,
My mom is vice president of the Boosters, and she has helped us so much with the show, finding Troupe. So, Mom.
This is for my mom. She helped out a lot with concessions, and she's one of our booster moms. So I just want to say thanks, Mom, because you're awesome.
My mom did the same thing. She helped out, and she would bring the canine assistance dog she trained to make everyone smile and brighten the day. And she fed us a couple times, so thank you, Mom.
My mom is new to the Drama Boosters Club this year, and she is our new vice president for the upcoming year.
My mom also helps out with the Drama Booster Club. She helps sell concessions, and she's also one of the booster moms.
Give her a kiss. Okay, this card is for Miss Cameron. She's one of the boosters. Oh, you are there. We didn't know if she was back here or not. You can go ahead. Sorry.
I want to give this to my mom, my best friend. She is the upcoming president for the Booster Club. Mom, I can kind of see your food. So, Mama, will you come on up here?
This goes to Mr. Bekas. Without him, we wouldn't have this beautiful set right here. He's one of the
Fireworks without telling us.
So, There's a reason we're all in these lovely, lovely costumes, and it is all thanks to Miss Odum back there. She doesn't even have a student at Sequoyah anymore, and she still comes out and helps Sequoyah drama with every single day.
Okay, last but not least, is for Gerald, the greatest director.
You can come here. I would rather be with this bunch than any sport anywhere. They were wonderful. I want to be here every day, and they make my job easy. Thank you. Thank you.
If you lost your wallet during the show, go to the popcorn machine and love.